right here on Bay Hill Radio Station. Bell the nation, bell the nation, bell the nation. We're going to be talking solutions. So why not tune in and make your contributions? Bay Hill Radio, giving the best expressions of you.
To call in on Bay Hill Newsnet 1784-529-8518. To call in on Bay Hill Newsnet 1784-529-8518.
Bay Hill News Network is an internet radio. We are affiliate with Fun City Radio USA, Cancardi Radio, and Success Radio Canada and Blaze Nation Media Group. You can find Bay Hill News Network at www.bayhillnews.net.
I see them coming after my soul, wanting to take control. Wanna give me laughs, wanna give me bling, wanna give me all the material things. I hear them talking about what the world has to offer. Girl, what you doing, don't you see what they have done to Bedouin and Marcus, Jesus and all of the prophets? But I'm not afraid, no, no, I'm not afraid, no, I'm not afraid, no. If them a come, let them come, 'cause I'm protected by the Most High One. They don't mind when you fall behind and can't pay your bills on time. Prostituting and standing in a them government line. No, and they don't mind when you waste your time coming up with some stupid lines, influencing the youth, them for snort a line and take a line.
Beginning Monday, the 25th of October, 2021, and continuing every week, Mondays and Fridays. It's the biggest conversation right here on Bay Hill Radio Station. Bell the nation, bell the nation, bell the nation. We're going to be talking solutions. So why not tune in and make your contributions? Bay Hill Radio, giving the best expressions of you.
To call in on Bay Hill Newsnet 1784-529-8518.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from all around the world, everywhere that Bay Hill News Network is being heard. Today being Monday the 25th of October 2021, it is a blessed day, blessed evening. I want to welcome you to our talk show today. I want to extend a very special blessing to you from the island of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We begin with a thought for today. He has shown you, O mortal, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you? To act justly. That is what is morally right or fair. And to love mercy. And to walk humbly with your God. I think that we are having more feedback. And in terms of our adjustment, we're trying to get that sorted. All right. We're just having some slight feedback here, but nonetheless, we are on air. By way of introduction, I am a mother, I'm a wife, I am a friend of many, I am a neighbor, I'm a woman. I'm a citizen of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And then some folks may ask, why the need for another talk show? We would want to think I would want to think that this is going to be a unique talk show, and that our level of interaction would be holistic towards conflict resolution, even as we bring an awareness of conflict, and that we create an avenue whereby solutions may be derived to provide information on relevant issues and to make available space for entertainment and time. Also, we want to believe that we will allow for effective and informative dialogue or conversation on any issue. With me this evening is one of my brethren, Ras. We have Ras right here on the hill. And he is the host of another program called Tea and Bread. You want to say good night?
Hey, greetings.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
me there again. The same thing, I do the same thing,
Okay.
because all in one in all. But one aim, one goal, one destiny.
Yeah.
The development of the minds of NI people towards the progress and development of us as a nation. So as we done that. So I'm just been sitting here with the Empress because again them know from such time I just the Empress and promote.
Okay.
As,
Well, thank you.
as
Thank you for that.
And all talk here and here I talk about the Empress and the Empress come forward and I could talk about so everyone pay close attention to the Empress and see what kind of contribution everyone can make. Because this is not kind of talk down to nobody and talk over no one. Everyone have a voice. So I need you for it. So I'm just forward and I'm over to the Empress again while I there, because I'm still there.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for being my company in the studios this evening. We want to also shout out the management and staff of the Unity Network for giving us this opportunity to have the biggest conversation on this side of the globe. Our episodes may evolve, and those episodes that will focus on different perspectives that relate to issues on the island and in the diaspora, political matters, religious matters, matters of health, the environment, and so on. And just some housekeeping matters I want to urge us, please, no profanity, no name calling, no verbal abuse of any kind, because somebody may disagree with me, right?
Not tell no life on nobody.
And right, no tell no life on nobody, as we say. Yeah, so my name is Doris Charles, and with effect from today, every Monday and continuing Monday and Friday, or Mondays and Fridays, we will have our biggest conversation. So what are we on with today? Happy Monday. Happy Black History Month. And happy Independence as well. We are celebrating 42 years of independence, and some of our discussions would, would focus on the whole history of this historical context of why we are here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, who we are as a people. And again, happy Black History Month. You hear the words Black History Month and wonder what they really mean to us as a Vincent. But we are largely derived from the African diaspora, the African peoples, who either emigrated or migrated from Africa to these parts. And so, our skin color, the texture of our hair, the color of our eyes, the shapes of our faces. When someone met me the other day, they were asking me which part of which area in Togo that I had come.
The person looked at you.
Yeah, they looked at me and they asked me that question. And
I know about that.
yes.
I met a sister who said she was from South Africa.
Okay.
I met her in Kingston, and she looked at me and told me the name of the people in Ghana.
And it's interesting that you know, the way we look, you know, even sometimes certain mannerisms that we have, people can actually point to and say, "Hey, you're some African from some place."
Let us reason just a little bit.
Right.
We are very when it comes to that, because now we grew up, our generation, I think we have lost. When people die, they think none. We never knew what Nancy story really meant to us because it was just like a pastime thing where we were people dead and people come together. But it was some years ago while I was listening to a program on when I had this guy in London who went to England from Ghana to England. And he said that the Nazi character originated in Ghana. No. You see, because in them same way, 200 years ago before Columbus, in Africa, all the time you had the Chocula, Ghana, and Mali, one empire. So then now, 200 years before Columbus, many of our ancestors, including the King of Man, come here and begin this way. Now the point I'm making is inside of that Nancy story because you could see now that because we see to have this Nancy story heritage in this land here, that will go straight to that.
Okay. But I was doing some research, and by the way, folks, in the listening audience, you can call us. You can call us at any time to interact with us. This is the biggest conversation on this side of the globe. 529-8515. The use of storytelling. My research tells me that the telling of folklore tales, basically within the African Negro, it amounts to like a passion. They have a passion for this thing. And by day, both men and women have their manual occupations. You know, you go, you do your stuff in the mountain, as we would say here, or even just idling, pass the time in sleep or gossip. But at night, particularly with moonlight, remember those days? Oh, yes. If there be on hand no dances, either of fetish worship or of mere amusement, a storyteller would begin to recite, and all his own tales. But not all can recite them dramatically, eh?
No.
Yeah. So the audience is never tired of the repetition. And the skillful storyteller in Africa occupies in the community a place filled in civilization by the actor or a concert singer. So we jump the gun there a little bit because I wanted to go back up to say something here about our ethnic composition. Yes, we have eyes, nose, mouth, and all things that resemble the African. We have names like Afro, Vincentians, or Black Vincentians. And our ancestry apparently lies within the sub-Saharan Africa, which is generally West and Central Africa. So you're typically an Afro-Vincentian, and so am I. Just recently, Remember, I was telling you about how I was doing this ancestry. Tracing my ancestry, I found my father, John Horace Bailey Frederick. And that is after I'm nearly 6 years old and I found him. That's quite unprecedented. And that's what I found in my ancestral mix, my ethnicity, so to speak, is that I am Nigerian, 45%. I'm also from Mali, Cameroon, Congo, and Western Bantu peoples, Kenya, Benin and Togo, Ivory Coast, and Ghana.
No.
Talk to me.
How is that? It is so because now they have this thing that they say that about DNA.
Yes, this was done through ancestry DNA, yeah.
But I threw that away.
You threw that away. Okay. Well, at least we accept it for what it's worth.
Yeah, everything has its purpose.
Yes, but it gives us an idea that, or it supports the notion that definitely it came from Africa. That's the point I'm making.
I can't be more than that in the sense that it don't matter the color of your skin. Once you have one paper African blood, you can't do that.
Correct,
right?
Correct.
That
because
is all I need.
Yes, because even we have 45% Nigerian, 3% from Congo. Is it Congo or Togo? 3% from Togo and Benin. Ivory Coast, another 5%. You may even have 8% from the Scandinavian countries. They still say the composition is that you're still African. So it could be 85% of all these mixed, Nigerian, Mali, Cameroon, and so on. And 85% of those mixtures, and 85 how much? If I remember, is 100, 85 in maths. Right. So 80%, the mix of African states. 20% non-African states will always be. The dominant is from Africa.
Right? And that it don't matter your complex.
That's correct.
Because what happens here now, our people must know that when we created this African civilization, our ancestors used to come out in a youth and have children with other people. So our mixing in a complexion in country to be taught as slavery.
That is true. That's true. Yeah, the history tells us that.
Yeah, you are always dominant. Yeah. But then now, this mixed up thing now comes from one central group. Okay. Out of central area of Africa, where the area where Ethiopia lies.
Okay. Well, that's another theory as well.
That's where they say So now, this civilization that we can draw people from all over Africa.
Okay.
Right? Now, so by the time we got to Egypt, it was a cosmopolitan. Just Africans.
Just Africans alone. Because you have the different shades.
Yeah, and different period, different cultures, everybody comes.
Some even say it's because of the sun, right? How close we are to the equator. Is it at the equator? No, well, how close you are anyhow to the sun. That is the reason why you have the color of your skin that is being that's another theory as well.
Yes. Because what happened in that? We were first known by our ancestors to be children of the sun.
Children of the sun.
Who are created by the sun.
Okay.
And who cannot live without the sun.
All right.
Because the sun does not shine. All else will die. Every living will die. So that was that. And this what we have here is not very black.
Okay.
Melanin that comes from the sun. It is more like a connection to the sun. We are the only people who can make the sun. Because our ancient culture, there was no such thing as color attached to human.
Okay.
Human have color. Now, what we have now is light. Now, but this is a long story, but then just actually.
Okay. You want to just wrap up right where you just ended. And then I want to focus on why we are who we are as Vincentians, with all our mixes, all our shades, all our facial shapes and type body shapes and how who are we as Vincentians? Wrap up what you were saying.
Yes. No, all of that comes into the same thing because we are not different. We are just one people. We need access to all these different orientations. We come back to that. For example, they tell us about tariffs.
Right.
They don't know what tariffs.
All right. Wait. Yeah, wait. Listen, the history books of our nation states there's a fellow by the name of Dr. Edgar Adams. There's another Professor Peter Hume and others who informed the narrative that I have here. So I want just for the sake of conversation, let's still see if we could appreciate what they were saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know,
I know. I hear you. For the sake of conversation.
Caribbean carnival.
Okay, I hear you.
We come into that.
How
come these people didn't eat them when they left?
Wow. And Peter Hume was one of the few historians that talk about that. And we'll pick up on that later on. Yes. And we'll pick up on that later on. So who are Vincentians?
What we're trying to do is to cut out
Correct. But we must also appreciate for this narrative, appreciate what the learned the professors would have said in their research. And some of them are right on target with you. And when it comes to your analysis so far. All right? So let's hear what they say with Vincentians. We are a unique breed of people, and that we inhabit this island here called St. Vincent and the Grenadines. On mainland St. Vincent, we are 133 square miles. And in the Grenadine Islands, there are 17 square miles. So we put them together 150 square miles. That's why we are known as St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We something like 32 smaller islands. I think 10 of them are inhabited. We are either citizens by birth, or we may become so through our descendants within the diaspora. Our relationship to the island and to each other is supposed to be historical, residential, legal, and or cultural. But as a body of people, collectively or otherwise, several and or all of these connections exist. They are the source of our identity. In our passports, when we stamp them, is what? St. Vincent and Grenadines. We are citizens of St. Vincent and Grenadines. Our people are generally God-fearing. Even our Constitution talks about that, the supremacy of God. We are honest people, generally speaking. We are hardworking. We foster belief in ourselves, and we aspire to be the best expressions of who we are, not just for the benefit of ourselves, but for the benefit of each other and for our collective good. And each year across our globe, this small island state join hands with many in this different geopolitical landscape in celebrating this Black History Month of ours. And I want to embrace the sentiments expressed elsewhere that our Vincentianness, our Black identity has always been about a reaffirmation of our cultural roots embedded in Africa. As a result of the dynamic admixtures of our West African people of color, there's some difficulty for many of us in this island in tracing our direct roots, our ancestry, our lineage, Pacific kingdoms in places like Nigeria and elsewhere. But in spite of that, we continue to take pride in our rhythms, the rhythms of Africa, the soul stirring beats of the Afro-Caribbean beat, the Afro-Caribbean music, the authentic flavors of our food, and we show an appreciation of our African style, or the African styles. I remember I went to a particular event and I was dressed in this dashiki, but a dress kind of wrap, kind of royal dress, yes. But some folks would not, the culture would appreciate what and how we have dressed. But generally, I have seen it's really amazing with the various colors and the descriptions that are afforded, attributed rather to so many persons as they dress in their royal regalia elsewhere with more Africans. If 2021 started with the promise of a new St. Vincent target, it became land of the blessed, the unchanged, the illumined. It must be due to the inherent powers and the skills. Remember, we were talking all about the skills of our people and our abilities and our intellect and the drive that lay in the hands and minds of our people who are known and read of by many in this world, because they have intentions all over the world. Some of them sitting in some small corners of places, yeah, the names of these countries, but nonetheless, they are giving up their best. They're giving a contribution to the organization, the company, or wherever they are employed, or wherever they choose to set up house. They are still known as Vincentians. There is a cousin of mine all the way up in the Bailiwick of Jersey. He is Gerald Williams, and he again is making a contribution towards an organization. I just, call him up because he has been a offering, a support basically for this organization to which we belong. And the indomitable spirit possessed by us as Vincentians, that spirit has been fashioned in the corridors of time. Rooted and transferred from one generation to the next. You spoke a while ago about our ancestors. When you think you're so strong, Shaka, it's because there's something about your ancestry that comes down from, move from one generation, transferred, limited from one generation to the next, and you are what you are. Yes.
The spirit of my ancestors today.
No, so here what I would say now. I would say I resemble my folks. I may have certain traits and so on. Some folks would say that is the spirit of your ancestors that reigns within you. Right, but
not in my
but in your book,
no,
it would be
that might be an identity. But very spiritually.
Okay.
Because
okay.
It is not how I look, it's the fruit I produce.
Okay, fair enough. And what we are saying is that the narrative in here that emitted and transferred from one generation to the next. There is that indomitable spirit that should be possessed by us as Vincentians. But there is this blackness that many of us run away from.
Now, you see, inside of us. Now, over my life, I have listened to nice sounding But how do we harness this and to become a reality to create a development purpose? Because the more we talk about it, the more we write about it, it's the more we come into generation, the further away from it. God is where we are now. Our natural, our natural way of life.
Well, that is the thing. You can't help but mention the factors nature of our society.
Yes.
And people, in spite of the fact that you inherit that something inside of you that help you to recognize, should help you to recognize that this blackness, this African heritage inside you should make you want you to drive you to help you achieve and so on. There is the individual differences that creates a factious nature in families and so on within our various societies.
Alien education that we do. Education that practices. Right? Education that tells you if you got good and you're superior to.
That is the thing that I think that you see that the core of that should help us to understand this. And that is that we have been acquainted that we came from this African diaspora. We are part of the African diaspora, but we came from that motherland, or those, I wouldn't want to say tribes, but kingdoms that have certain set rules and patterns and so on. And I have to interject this. Slavery could be responsible for creating such a fractious nature within the society in which we now live. There is another brother who just walked in and greeted us. He is Brother Bitai. I think he runs his program, a similar program on radio. So we want to welcome you into the studios, my dear brother, and thank you for your support this evening. I know as we progress, you are going to be giving your contribution as well. The number to call is 529-8515. 529-8515.
Now, with this conversation is like poison to us in reality. Because look at it. We have this way, which I can't find terms to describe it. Now, we look at this man who born here and call him a Puerto. This man born here, we call him an Indian. This man born here, we call him an African. But everybody call us no, this man born here, we call him a Portuguese, Indian, Chinese, Syrian, blah, blah, blah. But anyone who call us an African, we talk about Vincent Chandler. But you will call a man of a Portuguese descent who born here a Portuguese. You call a man of a Chinese descent who born here a Chinese. You call a man of an Indian descent who born here an Indian. But you from an African accent, no one must call you that. So,
I'm going to throw this in the mix. Some years ago, I was beaten down for similar comments because using a professor's description about it says that we are a new breed of people. He also mentioned the fact that there is no tribe, no kingdom to which we can actually be placed. Let's say there's a movement, a reparation movement to send back Holland, to send back Vincentians to Africa. And I agree with him to this point where you cannot be traced. So for example, my ancestry, my ethnicity, which says that I am 45% Nigerian. I am 3% from Togo and Benin. I am 7% from the Ivory Coast. Where exactly, to which kingdom in Nigeria would you put me? Because I'm not Nigerian.
Okay.
So from that standpoint, I agree with you.
Let us look at it from our ancestral standpoint. Right? There is someone who is called Priya, who might be younger than you.
Right.
Will look you straight into your face and tell you where you belong and put you right where you belong. Right? But
where I belong, where? In Mali?
Regardless to
where I belong in. Because Mali is part of my ethnic.
No.
Where I belong in Nigeria. And so that is where I find within the narrative that there is some merit
No,
in
what
some of
I
the
am saying, that narrative is confusion. Because I agree would look at you in your face
and be able
tell
to
you your whole language of people from where you come from without all this, that. Because remember, right? We begin the population of Africa from the east, central, spread out all over Africa. And when that spread out was done, people come together to build civilization like in Somalia. Remember that Egypt was the last one, which you mentioned, like cosmopolitan. So here now, all of us came together there and was having children with one another. So what tribal ethnicity you want to tell me about? I'm an African, 80%.
80%, yes, yeah, African. They're largely
because you don't have them kind of thing with the Europeans. You don't have them argument with the Chinese. So what?
But you also have to put this in context. Their narrative is that many of them did not come from different states and were thrown together in a cauldron, so that you could trace people from the house of Judah. I'm just picking that word. You could trace them directly to the, to the line of the Valentines and so on. But for the African child, for the African mother or father, you find that because of slavery, you have this admixture of persons from Mali, and I'm a classic example of that. One of these days I'll give my story.
No, I know that. But why is it because of slavery? Now let me talk.
But in my way, in my limited research, and I must say this, in my limited research, I have found that I visited the Docklands in the UK some time ago, and the history museum was there, and what they told us was you had slave ships that came from Nigeria, came from Mali. So there is a narrative that says that. So if you follow that narrative, showing up in my ethnic composition, how did you get there?
But what I'm saying to you, 200 years before Columbus, you came here.
Hold it, yes. Right? Some of my ancestors.
You are your ancestors.
Yes.
200
some of our
years.
ancestors.
So then how could we say that so who is who? Who come voluntarily and who came on the slave ship? Do we know that?
No, but suffice it to say, because now this section of our narrative is that in our ethnic composition, in our ethnicity estimate, when you take a DNA test, you find that, and I believe these companies are, they're genuine companies because it's the same companies to which you could have lost other DNA stuff to catch this. Okay. Right. I hear you.
I don't trust you more than I do.
Okay. All right. So, so we have our multi-dimensional heritage. And out of that, we got certain leaders, we got certain followers, we got language, we have a consensus on practicality and multilateralism, and the perception of who we are as a people has changed somewhat. And in almost every corner of our so-called civilization, through the use of technological advancements, symbols and grenadines is known. And that's why we have the diaspora. We continue to be urged on by our current leaders and those who are within our sphere of existence. We are told we should not be constrained by anything or anyone to become victims. As a matter of fact, we are urged to become leaders. We are urged to become pioneers in certain areas. We are urged to become not just farmers, but adding value to a product, becoming innovative in terms of designing our own foods and so on. Our group is where we are not only just producing, but adding a value to products and than eat and go what to eat and that's right is that and making sure that we consolidate, our farming. That's right. That's right. Yes. So okay, all right. So yes, so the thing about it is that let's not forget though that all of us, leaders and the general population alike, members of the diaspora, our domestic considerations affect us to the point of what we can achieve generally. I'm joined by another brother, Brother Dave. Yes, so he's there. I'm going to welcome Brother Dave. Welcome you, welcome you to the studios this afternoon. And an old saying before I bring you on, an old saying it says that one wonders full basket. We can feast today and we have famine tomorrow. Remember those statements not long ago? Yes, and when you hit the hammer, you hit the hammer on the nail. And so those words too are part of our heritage as far as the language of the lingo goes. We survive against all odds. We excel at anything we are committed to. And sometimes we possess dreams of a better tomorrow. We know that can't do. And we hold no grudge, political or otherwise, when it comes to overcoming and advancing the cause that is truly Vincentian. Truly Vincentian. Yes, my brother.
Greetings to all listening. This is Pastor Shay. I want to join the reasoning at this point of ethnicity.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of people use ethnicity for nationality completely differently, right? With all respect to whoever the professor was, he's just one of the people who want to try to tell us who we are and not for us to tell him who we are. We're not buying that. Never buy that. Okay? Because they don't know who we are. Some of them don't even know who they are. Now, the only African country from a region, the two African countries from a region whose name haven't changed for centuries, for millennia, not centuries, millennia, Ethiopia and Egypt. Everyone else's name is a colonial name, given by the colonizer. So if you want to check your ethnicity, ethnicity is African. Never mind where you come from. Once you're black man or black, you're African. Never mind what they call Gabon.
Yes.
Right? You're from Swaziland.
Yes.
You're from Morocco. Morocco. However, you are African. Nigerians who are.
Brother Dave, you were saying.
Right. Nigeria, Dahomey and Togo and these countries change the name every so often because of the colonial master changing.
And also,
Road Scholar plays road keeper, just because he is.
And also they keep drawing over the.
Exactly. And they draw him up to confuse us because right now the truth is being revealed in a spiritual realm. So never mind what the writer say. The young youth now know the truth from the source of the truth, which is the Almighty. I don't read no book.
Okay.
Just have to be connected. So our people here are 96, 97% African.
Yes.
Right? The others are of European, whether they're from wherever in Europe, they're European. And they are.
But within
Asian.
them, you're seeing that part of their ethnic background is also African.
In terms of.
Yeah, ethnicity.
Oh, yeah. Well, originally, because Africans are the first nation on the earth. And we spread all out.
But in a way, we may just say that there's a difference between spirituality and humanity.
Completely.
African spirit is a different shade. And then in that matter your complexion.
No, your complexion don't matter.
No matter your complexion, the African spirit.
That's right.
No. You could white like Jack, but if the African spirit is pretend like the African spirit.
We are the first people who had what they call known as albino.
Okay.
People who are African, the white like chalk, but the blood, African blood.
Yeah. Okay. Here what one of these and I know you say no matter what the narrative has said, but here what they say: ethnic groups therefore are in St. Vincent and Grenadines, blacks, East Indians, Carib Amerindian, mixed race, whites, including Portuguese, and then you have others.
You sure?
Yes, they say others.
Right.
No, there is a professor named Peter Hume, and this is some years back, but I like to go back to the history, those professors that wrote like in the 2000s and so on, and he was presenting papers in Australia on our ethnogenic origins specific to St. Vincent, Tasmania. He did a test. He did an analysis, and he had this to say about St. Vincent. At the end of the 18th century, Britain was involved in a fierce guerrilla war on our island against the mixed force of indigenous, free-colored, maroon, and French revolutionary troops. And then he went on to say Britain eventually won that war and transported the vast majority of the indigenous Carib population of St. Vincent to Central America. That Carib population was, it was itself already transculturated. Indeed, 18th century, the Carib population was itself transculturated. And indeed, 18th century British sources called the people the Black Caribs or the Garifuna. And that was that group, I thought, my father, then, I thought he had belonged to that. That is what started my research into this thing about my blackness, and that turned out not to be so. To indicate that this Black Carib or the Garifuna, to indicate that they were, in the opinion of the British, largely African in nature, and on the basis of those British sources, anthropologists have looked back to this group for a prime example of what they call ethnogenesis, the creation of a new people. A genuinely ethnic hybrid supposedly resulted from the encounter between two previously quite separate peoples, in this case, Native Caribbean and African. Many of us may say that we are the descendants of that new breed of people. Because when you look at, again, forgive me for actually pointing to myself, but when you look at the ethnic composition of people like me, when I say people like me, Nigerian, 45%. Mali, 5%.
Now, hold up.
And so on.
Hold up.
Then you have come all the way down, Scandinavian, English.
Hold up.
But you're 100% whole.
Hold up with that.
I'm 100% whole.
Before you come to that, let me make a point. Yes. That's the point I made.
Yes.
There is no ethnicity named Nigeria.
Okay.
Don't worry these people.
Okay.
There is no ethnicity in the world named Nigerian.
Okay.
If you take a Nigerian, which is a geographical title, right? A place of a country. And you put that Nigerian to stand up near Ghanaian, and you put him to stand up near Liberian, and you put him to stand up near Sierra Leone, and all of them look the same.
Hold on.
Put him to the
according to the genetic genealogists, they would tell you no.
Or with them.
Yeah, they would tell you no.
They are the same people who say the old was flat. They don't know nothing.
All right. But the narrative should inform our audience that there are different views as to how we arrive at our blackness.
We are one.
But we are one.
Africa. So let me go now.
Yes.
To be a nation, you have to have a language, you have to have right? You have to have a culture. What is the homeland of the name of the indigenous homeland? What is the name of the colored homeland? What is the name of the black homeland? What is the name of the colored homeland? Them people are not a homeland, so they cannot exist.
So hold on. So that reason why they're saying now that the words black, the celebration of Black History Month is None.
Of course.
Non-entity.
Misnomer.
Yeah, misnomer. A term that should not be used, you know?
They decided what we should celebrate.
So I hear you.
But I want to clarify something because this morning my Garifuna brother, brother Wellington Ramos, their brother, sent a correspondence with that people. And in this correspondence, a PDF file, the Garifuna fighting for the land in Delhi, which is right for them. When the land was not Delhi, British family were. And they met no living person there. What they met there when they are there, iguanas and these kind of things, because the British tried to kill them, tried to put them in Balisco and then put them in a barren land.
No, not British put them in the way boat out that city.
Right, put them in water.
I hear you. You see, the issue, what I'm noticing here as well, over the years, I'm a student of history as well, right? But I'm noticing that it depends on which historian.
His story or her story.
It depends on which historian. Professor Peter who has done a fantastic job. But then there are other historians. Dr. Edgar Adams would have done some.
He did a lot of good work. Very good
work. But again, it depends on your perspective. It depends on you sitting down and analyzing it from your perspective. Although you are going to have some historians who would have written some material, for example, we hope we know this out. Can you see that on radio? Yeah. But he's a liar because when he came here, he met people. And to use the word discover, that is well, there we go. There we go again, you see? But in school, we were taught that he came here.
Christopher Columbus, I yesterday.
Okay.
Right? We really are talking about him. We are talking about the Queen of Sheba had an empire in 900 BCE.
There again.
There we are talking.
The history, the rich history of 900 BC must be brought to bear on our civilization as well.
So
but not many people
know nothing about it.
There you go. Not many people have access to that kind of material.
Because
No, I'm saying some people don't search, right? Yes.
America, what we call America, there's a difference between USA and America. There's a difference between United States and America.
Yes.
Right? No, America in reality is West Africa.
Okay.
Because how we are doing that? Where does the
you have a call online?
They're not there with that. But our ancestors told us that there's a river called River Jordan. Or they don't see it in our right? But where is River Jordan?
Okay. There is a caller. There is a call online.
Yes, please.
Hello?
I'm not sure if we're allowed to call in yet.
Yes, I'm hearing you now. I do apologize for not picking you up. We are so engrossed here. Welcome, caller. You're our first caller. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yes, you're on. Yes, you're on. Go ahead, please.
Hello?
You hearing us?
Are you here? Yes, go ahead, please. Make your contribution.
Yes, I would just like to add a bit to your program. So congratulations for everybody who actually decided to make this for a platform.
Yeah, big up that, man.
Yeah, what I'd like to do is to try to add a bit to this African percentage that you've been. I don't know, I'm getting a feedback in the line. I don't know if you're hearing me.
Yes, we are hearing you. We are hearing you loud and clear. Loud and clear. Go ahead.
Yeah, every time I speak, I'm getting a feedback. So
caller, turn down the monitor that you're listening from and just talk to the phone.
Go
ahead now, caller.
Yeah, I just want to make a contribution to the program with regard to the percentage that they try to have us all in. One of the things that we need to understand is that first we need to stop identify ourselves as slaves and address it as it is, that we were the people who are enslaved. Because it's time enough for we to start to get these words right, because we weren't born as slaves.
Perfect.
Okay. And secondly, we need to understand when we were taken out of Africa, that we were treated as a commodity. So this mix-up that we've all find ourselves with, a few percentage of Nigeria and few percentage of whether Benin, it was all done deliberately because our ancestors were actually used as a marketing tool, because the ladies were actually used to actually produce baby as fast as they can, and they would actually use family against each other because they didn't concern about the family connection. All they wanted was just to produce a baby that could be sell for the market. So all these mix up, we shouldn't really get too caught up in it, because I do understand you make reference to Peter Tassag, which is very necessary. But this percentage is all mind control to have us feel that we are broken. We are not. We are the people who carried it. We are the original people. It's time to identify ourselves as Africa. It doesn't matter where we are. We can always coin that if you take a sheep out of Africa and it ended up in Barbados, it can only have a sheep. If you take that same sheep and you move it to St. Vincent, it can only have another sheep. So how eventually that we ended up with all these different names? And when you look at us, we are the only people on the planet that nobody else looks like us. So I don't want to take up too much of the program, but I just want to make a simple contribution. Well done to the forum and whoever came up with the program. But this I just want to say. Hello?
Yes.
I'm not hearing you.
Yes. Oh, you're not hearing. Okay. No, what you were saying is that truth cannot be too much.
Yes, because what I'm seeing, we up to just last Friday, I was on a similar platform, a webinar, and we have been identified as Africans. We've been identified as blacks. We've been identified as colored, and Afro-Caribbean, Afro-American. Who are we? And once we keep carrying around all these different titles, we would not be respected. And also, what I want to say to our fellow Vincentians and other Africans who are connected with this program, it's time enough for we to also start to see ourselves as entrepreneur and not just see ourselves as an employee, because we have been conditioned that you will have somebody who will finish a master's degree, a doctorate, but he don't have a creative mindset to look for an opportunity. We still to date have been conditioned just to be an employee. So also what I want to contribute to our African people, it's time enough for we to start to unite as a people, and we have to look to Africa, because if we don't build Africa, we would not get that respect that we deserve. There are several books out there, and it's time enough for we to start to have these books in our home as a family and start to teach our children. This whole COVID issue has given us the power to now connect back with our children than to outsource our children to these schools who have indoctrinated our children just to be employed. And the actually conditioning system where if you're not theoretically minded, you're just being called a dunce. Now, everybody have different learning skills and different learning mindset, but the school is only designed to take out the cream who are theoretically minded. What about the people who are actually practically minded? Where is the institution that will nurture these people? So this is just my contribution. I'll be following this program, and I hope that I'm clear, because every time I speak, I'm hearing myself back, so I don't know how I'm receiving on the other side. So thank you very much for the...
Yes. You have been received loud and clear. We want to thank you very much, caller. Thank you very much.
You see, we are just what we protect ourselves to we are what.
So that you won't see the tall buildings, and you won't and you know and so
African and Gary, they had carried half of it. That's why they say that the carry with it. They say, but the Garifuna, which means a oneness. It's not a color, you know.
Yeah, it's just say Garifuna is what cassava eating people. Garu, the project I wanted to start, or actually started, and it was a first on hold. I met a guy from Ghana, and he was saying Garu or Garu means cassava. Right? So the combination of Garifuna is cassava.
Oh, that's a brilliant point to bring it. Isn't it the ethnobiology
yes.
of the cassava plant? Just like what I say, it comes from the both sided plant.
Okay.
From this side, the Italian other people come from, and West Africa. So these are one people eating the same food from before the Atlantic farm, before they were separated.
All right, so I went vegetable gardens, root crop cultivation, that team got gutters and those things, water holes, the use of the home and women in agriculture and so on. Those are some of the things that I picked upon that has a similarity between us here in the Caribbean as well as in Africa.
And by the way, let me tell you people now, they're not about the America.